Hello everybody, it's Hannah and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I do my nails at home. So obviously right now I have nothing on my nails, but I'm going to go through the entire process from prep to end on how I do my own nails at home. First thing I'm going to do is just clip off any excess length off of my nails. There really isn't much, but I just like to have it look as clean as possible. That way underneath when my nails grow out, it looks completely clean. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut off any extra length from my nails and I will be right back. So nails are all clipped and now what I'm going to do is just take this little cuticle pusher and just work on pushing back my cuticle to free up the space on my nail bed. This will just help make sure that the nails, since we're going to be using full cover tips, stick to my nail bed really nicely, and that way we'll be able to kind of clean up any bit of this extra excess skin along the outside part of my nail. So I'm just going to push these back. You can use a cuticle remover, which is like a special gel, which sometimes I do use, but I'm going to be doing more of like a dry manicure today with my e-file, so I'm just going to stick with using this one for now. So I just went ahead and attached this round cuticle bit to the end of my nail file, and basically what I'm going to do is clean up along the edges of here just to make sure that there is no excess skin or anything on my nail plate. Alright, so once I've filed around the edges of my cuticles a little bit, I'm just going to go in with some cuticle clippers and just get off any little excess skin around the edge. You don't want to go too crazy, you only want to clip what is extra, and some people don't even do this step. You can skip this if you're fine with just filing, but personally for me, I have pretty dry skin, so I do need to nip off a little bit of excess skin every now and then. Now I've just put on a sanding band. You use this attachment for your nail drill, and then you can just buy these sanding bands. These are just the ones that came with my drill, and I'm just going to file down the rest of my nails to take away any shine and rough them up in preparation to put the tips on. So I have both sides of my nails all filed down. They are gonna look crazy, but that's fine. You do want this texture in order for your nail tips to stay. By the way, I am in no sense a professional at all. This is just stuff that I've learned from YouTube or doing my nails. So I'm now taking a lint-free wipe with a little bit of rubbing alcohol on it just to clean up my nails and get any extra dust off. That way we can start sizing out my tips and also just kind of assess how everything is sort of looking. So nails are looking pretty good, so now what I think I'm going to do is start sizing out my tips for application. So I just have tips that I purchased off of Etsy. I will leave the link down below if you're interested in checking them out. Usually I have pretty small nail beds, so I'll probably need to go with some of the smaller sizes. Let's see, this is a size 4, so I think 4 is going to be good for my thumb. And these are just medium tapered square or coffin, and I'm just going to set out 2 sets of them. So let me go ahead and work on sizing these all out. The tips are all sized out, so this is going to depend basically on just the size of your nails, how you like them to fit. From what I find is you don't want them to be too small, and then you don't want them to flood. They kind of have to be sort of a perfect fit. If anything, I feel like maybe a little tiny bit bigger is going to be better. Just because if they're too small, then you're going to get uneven coverage and they're going to grow out poorly. So I have my tips all laid out, and for my method of application today, what I'm going to be doing is just using some nail glue. You can also use a base coat, which I have done many times before. Basically what you do is you do need a gel lamp in order to use this. You apply a little bit of base coat, a thin layer to your nail, and then you apply a little bit to the edge of the tip, and then you put this on basically from the bottom, spread it out, and then you're going to cure that under a lamp. The reason why I won't be doing that today is because it lasts a very, very long time, and it is a little bit harder to remove because you do have to soak it off with acetone, whereas if you're using nail tips with nail glue, I find that if you do warm water and oil, that's a really, really easy way to remove them. It sort of loosens the glue underneath. It's a little easier to reapply if one pops off at any point, just to put on a little bit more glue. So in order to prep my nails, I'm going to use some dehydrator and some primer just to make sure that these last a little bit longer than they normally would if you're doing regular press-ons. So let me grab those and I'll show you what products I use. So I can't seem to find my primer, but the primer that I use is just the one that comes in this set from Models 1. I use pretty much only Model 1's products just because they're some of the best and they're quite affordable and actually perform really well. So instead of doing dehydrator and primer, I'm just going to go ahead and dehydrate my nails. Also, before I do that, I'm going to just take my e-file and file the inside of these tips just to rough them up a little bit. That way they last a bit longer. Having a textured surface here and a textured surface on the nail tips will help them really last, especially since in this case I'm now not going to be using a nail primer. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll be back with the dehydration and the application. Alright, so I have etched the inside of all of my nail tips. Now I'm just going to take my dehydrator and just run this over my nails just to make sure that there's no oils on my nail plate that will interfere with the tips sticking with the nail glue to my natural nails. Some people like to apply the nail glue to the actual tip, but what I like to do is just apply it to my nail. That way I know that every area of my nail is saturated and that I don't have any air bubbles. So I'm just going to take this, and then I'm going to take my nail and place that at the bottom and then start holding down. And then I'm just going to hold this for a couple of seconds while it dries. So we have our first nail on. You can see it covers perfectly along both sides, and I really, really like the length of these. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this to all of the rest of my nails. As you can see, I have the nail tips on all of my nails over here on this hand. I did have a little bit of spillage over here where I applied first not enough glue and then I put on too much glue, so that's not going to be super, super clean looking underneath. Sometimes that glue will kind of lift, but that's okay. Every now and then you do have a mistake. But now I'm going to go ahead and just apply the tips onto my other hand and I'll be right back. I have all of the nail tips applied. Now I'm just going to take this bit on here and just go around the edges of my nails just to get rid of any excess glue that may have popped out, and then just to seal the edge of the nail as well to make sure that I don't have lifting prematurely or anything like that. So let me go ahead and do that. Now what I'm going to do is just take this buffer just to take the shine off of the tips, and then I'm also going to just file off the edge of the tips using a regular nail file, and then again I'm going to buff the tips with a nail buffer. So let me do that just to finish prepping everything up. I just did a little bit of buffing and filing just to sharpen up the tips a little bit. Now I'm just going to wipe off any excess dust with some rubbing alcohol on a lint-free wipe. I'm just going to paint on a little bit of a base coat. I'm just going to use this one here from Models 1. This is a gel base coat. You don't have to do gel. I just find that it lasts a little bit longer and gives a little bit of a nicer finish. So I'm just going to paint on my base coat. I like to do my thumb first just because then I'm kind of hitting it on everything, so we are going to work on my thumb. Now we are going to experiment with something a little bit new. This is the Model 1's Color Cube, and mine is in the shade All About Wagashi. It's one of their solid cream gel polishes. Basically, this is like a gel polish palette instead of having like a bottled gel polish similar to this one. So I've never used this before, so I'm going to peel off the seal. does come with a brush from the Models 1 set, so what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of the polish off of the corner here, and we are just going to start painting. I'm not sure how pigmented this is or anything, or how many coats we'll need, but yeah, this is basically a UV gel polish. So it seems to be pretty sheer. I do like the brush though, like the rounded edges make it pretty easy to apply the actual product. But I do think I am gonna need quite a few coats to kind of build this up to the shade and coverage that I'm looking for. To the second layer, maybe I'll take a little bit more this time. And oh yeah, already it seems to be building up, so I'm pretty happy with this. And I like how thin the polish is, that way you don't sort of flood your cuticle, which I find is always a sort of like unavoidable problem. I mean, I'm sure it is avoidable, but then I just feel like you don't get like the color payoff that I'm kind of looking for. So yeah, I'm happy to build this up in thin coats, honestly, rather than having one like super thick gel polish. And I find that some gel polishes, like I have a couple from Beetles, they never cure fully. So like a couple days after I paint my nails, I find that the polish is like starting to lift and that it fully like wasn't cured underneath, which is super weird. And I've tried curing it like longer, and I just find that it's such like a weird issue that I have with super thick polishes. Going on to the third coat, I just don't really know how many sets you could actually do with this polish, because I feel like going through quite a bit of it as far as like the little mini palette goes, but I think if you're just doing your nails at home, it could be pretty good. On my end, not the best paint job, but let me put a top coat over this and we will kind of see how everything looks. For my top coat, I'm just using this non-wipe top coat from Kiara Sky. This is one of my favorites. It's nice and like not thick, but it just has really nice coverage on top of the nail. And I also really like the shape of the brush. I like how big it is. So I'm just going to pop this on and cure this under my lamp for about 90 seconds. So after a top coat and just a little bit of cuticle oil, not half bad. So I think what I'm gonna do for the rest of my nails is paint the rest of them blue. I may do nude on this nail with a little blue flower on it, but I guess we'll kind of see how things go. So just enjoy the little montage. So I did about 4 coats on all of my nails with the polish. I have kind of like hit pan on it, so not exactly sure how many like nail sets you'll get out of one shade, but now I'm just going to take this Beetles gel polish in 895. It's just a black shade, and I'm going to open this up, and then just using one of these wooden sticks, I'm actually going to just make a little heart design on my middle nail, which I think is a really cute but easy design to do. So do 2 little dots and then just sort of join them together. And I think it looks so cute, and it's such an easy design to do, and I feel like it just elevates a nail look. So let me go ahead and cure this. And I'm just going to apply my Kiara Sky top coat once again, and these nails will pretty much all done. Not like a super exciting design, but I like to just keep it simple sometimes, especially because this is my first time like filming my nails, and I definitely could have done a better job. I'm used to doing my nails like a lot closer, kind of like to my face, so it's a little bit difficult to get like a super clean line. I'm also using this like gel palette for the first time, but I think overall the nails have looked pretty cute. Alright guys, so I just went ahead and finished up both hands. And this is the overall product. I really hope it was helpful to show you guys how I do my nails at home. Obviously, you know, they're not like the cleanest looking, but I do think that they look pretty good for me doing them myself at home super quickly. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, a little bit different for my channel than normal. But regardless, I really hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!